Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to let Spirit guide my words today. We'll see what they have to say. There's a few things I've been having lately, and then I'll see if they want to bring that up to you. We'll allow Spirit to guide me to see what messages, what they wish me to share with you today. It is cold up here in the Yukon. It's going to dip down to colder weather again. I'm standing on top of a mountain and a cold breeze hitting my face. The pristine range of mountains, beautiful mountains. Everything's covered in a white snow this time of the year. Even the lowest mountains are covered in snow. A flower appears in the snow as it melts just around the flower, and a butterfly appears. It's an impossible time of the year for a butterfly to appear, but a white butterfly flies down and lands on a white flower in a white Arctic environment where just where the flower appeared, there's no snow, it just melts away. They asked me what a butterfly means to me. I said it means transformation. That's the main message. So how does somebody transform? They say, how do people transform themselves? It really depends on what you mean by the question. Transforming is a very wide open interpretation. You can transform your everyday life, you can transform your job, you can transform your heart, your mind, your body. What is it that you mean when you say transform? They ask you, what do you think it means? Transformation. What do you think transformation truly means? Transforming what? They ask. So if you looked at this world, what would be the one thing that needs to be transformed? It's a pretty big question. A really difficult question to answer. This flower is growing in the winter with a white butterfly that lands on it. So where did the butterfly come from? And how is the flower able to grow in the middle of winter? Because the environment around the flower has been transformed into summer. And the butterfly is a spirit. It turns into a beautiful female angel. And she's not very big. She still sits on it's almost like the size of a fairy, but it's not a fairy. It is definitely an angel, and she appears small for a reason. See, I transformed from a butterfly to an angel. And I transformed the size into the size of a fairy. She grows really big, and so does the flower. And she still sits on the flower with her feet dangling off the edge. And she jumps to the ground, and she's about my size now. And she's very elegant looking. She has a white gown with pink embroidery all around it. Her heart is very pink with white, just like her dress. Her hair is golden in color. Her eyes are yellow. Her skin is the color of ice. She looks at me and she transforms into an old woman, into a young woman. She can transform into whatever she likes. So how does a person transform themselves in the physical world? Isn't it by choice? You choose to transform, and intention transforms into you whatever you want. But it's a slow process. It's not quick like it is now in this place. Transformation for me is instantaneous. For you it can take months, years, weeks, decades. What would the world be like if people could transform in a whim and transform instantly into whatever their hearts desired? Some of you could handle power like that, but most of you would fail miserably at it. Or would you? What do you think you would do if you had the ability to transform into whatever you want? What would you do? What would you do? That's the question. You can always comment below and tell me what you would transform into. And then when you do that, ask yourself, what would you do when you transformed into that? Or many different things. And what would that do to the world and to the people around you? See, you can transform winter into summer. But what kind of effect would that have on everything around it? Interesting. If I walk away from this flower, it will die because the winter will come. The flower will not seed, and it will never be a flower again. The essence of the flower may remain, but the physical flower would no longer exist. The butterfly would die because it wouldn't have the ability to survive. So why would anybody want to transform a flower and a butterfly in the middle of winter? Because as soon as they walk away, the flower will die and so will the butterfly. Unless your intention was to permanently leave that area into a summer scene. But you know, as soon as the butterfly flew past this small area, it would die. And as soon as the wind comes, it will blow this area and cover it in snow. I think when I talk to all of you, I say, what will you transform into? Just be careful what you choose. Because when you transform into something, it takes a long time to transform out of it. And just be aware what that transformation will cause you. It will cause you much happiness and much pain. Because transformation doesn't come without a cost. But we know this world has to transform for it to survive. But we know that most people will not transform because they will not give up what they need to do in order to transform. So if you want to survive on this earth, we all must transform into something more than ourselves, greater than ourselves. But most people will not, because they do not want to lose the things that they have, even if it only is for a short time. However, what would happen if the world chose to transform and did not matter what they lost, because they know deep down in their hearts that something much greater will happen? And what would happen if I said to you, take away all the things that you have and I'll give you a mansion? What would your answer be? To walk away from your normal house to move into a mansion? Would you do it? Most people would jump on the opportunity, would they not? Some people would ask more questions about what does the mansion look like, where is it located, how big is it, how expensive it is to maintain. Because if you only make an average wage, you're not going to be able to afford a mansion, but you could sell it. Well, what happens if you couldn't sell it? You would lose it and you lose everything. You would go bankrupt. If we just freely chose what we wanted, what if it was just a one-time thing? That you could transform into anything you want, just once. One time. What would it be? And honestly answer that question. And then go back and say, okay, if I transform into this, how would that affect my family, my friends, my job, the environment, the people in my neighborhood, the people in the city, the people in my country, the people in the world? You are not the only one here, so your decisions affect everyone around you. And we're all interconnected, so we affect everybody in our own simple way. So what is the message? It's about transformation, but it's all about what it is you transform into. I think that is the key, she says. To know what you're transforming into is so important. Because when you become that, when you become the thing you wish to be, are you prepared for it? Did you really think it out? Or do you get lost in it, saddened by it, because it wasn't quite what you thought it would be, and it affected things and people differently than you originally thought? So does that mean we don't try to change? We stay the same? No. It just means we have to think very hard and let it go. You don't want to think too hard, but you do have to realize that your decisions affect everyone and everything around you. So when you wish to change into something, just be aware of what that thing is and how it affects everyone else. How many people that live in a city are affected by the city and transform into something they never thought they ever would be? And what happens to you in your country? You're transformed in another way. I know when I moved to the Yukon, I was transformed into something that I never thought I would quite become. If I look back on my life, how many transformations did I go through to become the person I am today? How many have you come? How many have you done? How many do you regret? It's not that we have to worry about transformation, she says. It's just that we have to be aware of ourselves and what we are becoming. Are you becoming the person that you really want to be? Or are you becoming what the world is making you be? Is people making the choices for your transformation, or are you the one that are making the choices for your transformation? You should always be the one that chooses. Influence is always going to be there, but you have to follow your heart and to become the one thing that you always want it to be. And not be afraid to make those choices, but also be aware when you make the choices how it affects others. So a butterfly is first a caterpillar, and then it becomes a butterfly, and then it becomes a spirit, and a cycle goes from spirit to caterpillar to butterfly to spirit. But us, we become how many transformations in a lifetime do we go through? People look at our life like humans don't transform like a butterfly. How about when you're in the womb, then you're born a baby, and every few weeks you change, every month you grow and change. How many transformations did you actually go through in your lifetime? We age, we grow old, and there's very distinctive transformations that we go through. So we as a human go through so many transformations. It might not be as pronounced as a butterfly, but it is super important. So what are you going to become? That's the question. And if you do not have an answer for that, then you need to go within your heart and ask yourself, what is it that I want to truly be? And then just be whatever it is that is in your heart. People always say, don't have your head in your head, don't dream all the time. Don't spend your life dreaming. I think it should be more, you should always dream, but you also have to live your life. So your dreams you throw up into the universe, and as they come down you grab them. Because if you sit around waiting for your dreams to happen, then you're not living your life. But if you throw your dreams to the universe and live your life every single day the best way you could be, like a child, seeing things for the first time, experiencing life, and living your life every single day like it's the last. When your dreams start to fall downward, you can grab them. But it's like a butterfly. It takes time to become a butterfly. It's not instantaneous. So when your dreams fall from the universe, you take them as they come. But live life every day and do not wait for your dreams. Don't waste your life just sitting around and waiting. Just stand up and live every single day like it is going to be your last. We need to communicate more as a human race, she says. We need to put their cell phones down more often. We need to shut the TV off more often, because when you do, things change. You're forced to have to think of something else to do. When you're talking, try to talk in person and listen to both sides of the story. Always listen to each other. It is easy to get lost in your own thoughts and not pay attention to the person that is speaking. That is all I'm going to say today, she says. Just one thing. Always love yourself. Always love yourself. And everything else will fall into place. Take care. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everybody. If you wish to do a journey with me, you can go visit my website. It's www.almondrossawakening.com. My Northern Light page is Joseph Bradley Auroras with an S.com. It was a very simple message, but there's a lot of meaning in what was said if you really think, but don't think too hard, and always think with your heart. But always be aware what your actions will do to others, as well as to yourself. Thank you very much, and have a great evening, everyone.